Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you here. In today's video, I'm going to share my favorite ways to fill a garden bed naturally using dried leaves. In this case, we're going to use loquat leaves, and I'm going to talk about why we specifically chose to use loquat leaves, even though we have a couple of trees that we can use the dried leaves from. Why specifically loquat? Now, I know what you're thinking. Dried leaves, won't that just rot and sick? Exactly, and that's the magic of it. In this video, I'll show you how we layer loquat leaves to build deep, fertile soil, cut down on the cost of potting mix, and turn the garden's waste into gold. Now, if you don't have loquat leaves handy, you could use any leaves that you have that are dried. You can use them for this purpose. Now, why did we use loquat leaves instead of, for example, dried olive leaves or dried fig leaves or dried lemon leaves? Now, loquat leaves break down slower than soft green leaves, which make them absolutely perfect for the bottom layers of a raised bed. They have three things that are really important. Number one, they're carbon rich, which means they're ideal for building structure and air pockets into the soil. Number two, they're slightly waxy because they decompose slowly. They act as a natural sponge that holds the moisture. And lastly, number three, they're nutrient releasing because as they break down, they release trace minerals that improve soil texture. And I always save mine after pruning the loquat tree. They may look dry and lifeless, but beneath the soil, they become food for the microbes and that keep your plant thriving. So instead of throwing away your garden leaves this season, see them as the base for your next harvest. Now let's talk about my favorite method, which is the layering method. So here's how we fill in the raised beds from the bottom up using the hookill culture method, which is a traditional layering method for long-term soil fertility. Now you can use whatever dried leaves you have on hand. Step one is to base layer. This needs to be around 20 centimeters. We start with old branches, twigs, or chunky prunings at the bottom, and this keeps air pockets under the bed and helps to drain excess water. Step two is a leaf layer. This is around 10 to 20 centimeters. We pile on the dried loquat leaves or whatever leaves you have on hand, and we lightly crush them so they fit snugly but still allow the airflow to go in and out. Also, step three is the green moist layer. So on top of that, ideally you want to add in any sort of kitchen scraps, lawn clippings, half-rotted compost, something green to really help to kickstart decomposition. Also, step four is to compost and soil. Adding that compost and soil mix, which is ideally the top 20 centimeters. And finally, we finish with a rich layer of compost mixed with the topsoil or aged manure. And this is where your plant roots will grow first. As the soil layers decompose, they slowly feed the soil. They create a living sponge for organic matter that helps to keep your garden moist and rich all season. Ideally, you want to add in a scoop of warm castings between each layer to seed beneficial microbes. What this does is it actually speeds the entire process and it helps in the long run. So what does happen over time? So over the next couple of few months, you would expect that your leaves will begin to soften and compact, and that's normal. You might notice the bed sinking a few centimeters. That's the organic matter breaking down, and the leaves underneath act like a slow release compost system. They work to feed the worms, improve the drainage, and keep the roots cool during the summer heat. And in one of the older garden beds that we had, we used loquat leaves last spring. By autumn, the soil was dark, it was crumbly, it was full of earthworms, pure garden life. And so instead of topping your beds every few months with expensive mix, just keep layering natural material like leaves and compost each season. With that being said, let's go to my favorite part, which is optional boosters. So if you want to speed up decomposition, if you want to help with nutrient release, here's what you can add. You can add in a handful of blood and bone for nitrogen. You can add in a scoop of biochar or wood ash for trace minerals, and you can add a light watering with either compost tea or a seaweed solution just to introduce the microbes. Then I want you to go ahead and cover everything with a thin layer of mulch, and this really helps to keep the moisture in and prevent the top from drying out too quickly. So if you have loquat leaves and the layer is thick and fresh, I would wait about 2 to 3 weeks before planting, just enough time for the decomposition process to settle and for the heat to cool. But if you've already used old uh, already dried up leaves, you can plant straight away. I like to grow shallow rooted crops first, so I'm talking about lettuce, spinach, herbs, while the deeper layers are still breaking down. So ideally, I would avoid planting in anything using this method that's like, for example, uh, carrots, any of these root vegetables, a beetroot. I would avoid them. Just stick with the herbs, stick with the lettuce, stick with the silver beet, and you're good to go. And that's it, filling a garden bed using dried leaves. It's simple, it's sustainable, and it's completely free. Now, those old leaves that you would have ended up at the beginning are now feeding my soil and future harvest. I want you to go ahead, try it for yourselves. Let me know in the comment section what natural material you've used to fill your raised beds. Like this video if you found it helpful, share your own gardening tips and tricks below, and subscribe to the channel for more backyard experiments and soil building tips and tricks that we try every single week. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and have a great day. All the best.